Hello again, this is Mike with Toy Train Tips and Tricks. And I've been seeing all of these videos on YouTube about how to use these flexible tape lights, these LEDs, as a cheap way of adding LEDs to your structures and cars and such. So I picked up a pack of these to experiment with. And I had lots of questions about them, about how they're powered, and do I need extra resistors, and do I need to rectify everything to DC power? What power, what voltages do they run on? So anyway, so I got this pack to play around with. So there's lots of different specifications. Some things you do need to watch when you order these. There are different power ratings, 12 volts, 24 volts, etc. This is a pack of 12 volt. Some come with power supplies, some do not. Some are dimmable, some are not. These are dimmable, which I wanted those on purpose. And of course, they come in lots of different colors. Even though this is color changing, this is not color changing. These are bright whites, and they are dimmable, but they're not color changing. So anyway, in this package came 2 reels of lights. And like I said, its own power supply, and it plugs in to the wall. And so all you do is you take one reel of these, you plug it in here, you turn the potentiometer on, and not only can you turn them on, but you can make them brighter and dimmer and such. So it's like, great, so I can light up a room or light up a workbench or whatever. But what has intrigued me about these is that I have seen, and it says that you can cut them to different lengths. And so in this case, there is a copper strip every 3 LEDs where you can cut these to different lengths. Some are 3 LEDs, some are 4, some are 6. So you need to look at those specs again when you get them. But so I thought, well, if I'm cutting these into shorter lengths, then what do I need to do power-wise? Do I need to add resistors or anything to it? So I took this one, and I've got my power cord here, and I just cut it off really short. I've got 9 LEDs on here. I'm plugging it into the same 12-volt supply, and, not adding any resistors or anything, just taking it, cutting it, plugging it in, and boom. They work just fine. You don't have to add anything else to it. So, well, I thought, well, this is interesting. So my next thought was, well, does it have to be DC power, or can it be AC power? Now, I thought I knew the answer to this before I started, but I set it up as an experiment just to find out. And here we go. Okay, here, so the next step is I've sliced off a piece, and I cut right through the copper pieces right here. So I've got a little strip here, and I've got some really small stranded speaker wire. I'm not sure what gauge this is. It was in my workbench. I'm guessing it looks to be about maybe 28 gauge. It's really small. And so I've got this wired up to my transformer, and I'm going to take and attach these wires to the copper strips here. Now, if you're really talented and you're better at soldering than I am, you can do that. And as a matter of fact, I did for my initial test, and it worked for a while, and then my wire came disconnected, and well, so there had to be an easier way. And so I also found these little connectors here. So I'm going to use this instead of soldering. These come out, these are about 80 cents a piece when you buy them in a pack of 10. And so what they do is they allow us to connect the wires together. All right, so I'm going to take my 2 wires, slide one piece in there. Easier said than done. Boy, these are small. Put one piece in there, one piece in there. It's hard enough till we get them in this bracket. You can imagine how much fun I had soldering these. Get in there. Stay in the slot, stay in the slot. Close the door. Okay. And then on the other side, we have 2 teeny little clips there and there. So we have exposed the copper strip just a little bit, pulling that plastic off. Now we're going to try to slide this in here underneath those clips as best we can. All right, so we're taking it this way. We're going to slide it as far up under these clips as we possibly can. Get the tightest fit that we can. And Let's see if we can coerce that puppy in there a little tighter, as far as we can. Get the best electrical connection we can. Okay. Looks like we're up under there. Let's close the lid, turn on the power, and even from our AC, we can control the lights. And of course, these are dimmable. The more voltage, the brighter. Now, why does it work on AC when it's listed as DC? Well, because these are LEDs, light-emitting diodes. And a diode only allows the current to flow in one direction. In other words, it converts the AC going back and forth into DC all by themselves. So you can run these off of AC as long as you do not overload the circuit. As is, we can take these and run them to our accessory power and light a structure with them. And so that's what we're going to do. So here I have the roof section of a Lionel passenger platform. These were based on the original number 156 platform that came out of the pre-war era. This is a modern reissue. Judging by the Lionel logo here, I'm guessing mid-90s to early 2000s. But these have been around forever. And so the original ones came with lighting. You can see here, we're in these casts, these is where the original bulbs would have been on the original pre-war version and early post-war version. And so it's still there on the modern version, but the lights are not. So we're going to use these to light our platform to provide lots of illumination for our passengers at night. So we're going to do two things. The strip of LEDs itself, it comes with this nice 3M tape, which we're just going to peel and stick. But this connection here, it's a little heavier, and I don't trust it by itself. So we're going to take just a little bit of hot glue and stick that puppy right there. Then we're going to peel this off, stick that down there. Then we're going to reassemble the platform and see what it looks like. Okay, so while my hot glue gun is warming up, I'm going to peel this 3M adhesive off. So as soon as I get my connector glued to the roof, I'm ready to peel and stick my LED lights. And you see it just peels right off. It is quite fragile, all these little copper strips, but it does work. So we're going to leave that. We're not going to attach it yet. There we go. And our hot glue gun will be ready in just a moment. And right on cue, there it is. So figure out exactly where we want to put this. I want to center up these LEDs. Use the old light fixture as a guide. And put a little dab right there. Whoa. Stick our box right there. That's good. And let's peel and stick. And that should hold that quite well. Let me get the rest of that off of here. All right, and before we reassemble, it's always good to test. And there's our lights. Good. Now let's reassemble the platform. Now, quite conveniently for the original lights, there is a hole on one side of the platform, and we're going to use that to run our wires from the roof. We're going to go right down this post and then down through the floor of the platform right there in that hole right there. So I'm going to tuck the wire in. See this channel in the post? I'm going to tuck the wire in there and give it some hot glue. Then when it dries, I'll paint the wire black to help camouflage it, and you make it practically invisible. So I have purposely given myself way too much wire here, because nothing is more frustrating than when you are trying to wire up an accessory and the wire leads are too short. So you can always shorten these. It's nice and small. It'll go right through the bottom of the platform, right through that hole. Good. And we pull. Let's pull all the slack in. Great. And now, get that finial nut off of there. Okay, and this will fit right like that. But before we do that, I'm going to run this wire through this channel here. So I'm going to get the glue gun again, and I'm going to attach the wire right in there before I totally reassemble. Okay, reassemble the roof. One there. Just line these up with the holes as best we can. Oh, that's why I'm in the wrong hole there. There we go. Okay, so we've got our press fit. Now we're going to hide the wire. Okay, we got the roof back together. I'm going to put this finial nut back on this side to help hold it together while I'm doing this. Okay, turn it. There we go. We got turned sideways. I know this is a horrible camera angle. I just don't have enough room to work on the workbench right now. I'm going to pull this up and out of the way. And let's do a little bit at a time with the glue gun. That and hold it. Get in there. Hold it. Let that set up, and then we'll move down the post. All right, a little bit more. Oh, I'm making a mess on this. There we go. And hold it. Just enough to hold our insulation in place. There we go. I'll do one more section here on the bottom. And then we'll let it dry and we'll paint it black. Get these spider webs out of here. Okay. Now there are supposed to be 3 of these finial nuts. I only have 2, but 2 are more than enough to hold the roof on. So one was already in place. There's the second one. Okay, so we're hooked back up to our transformer. I turned the overhead lights off. And there we have plenty of glow for our passenger platform. So easy to do, and I still have to paint this to help hide that wire. But there it is, and you can just imagine all of the different uses you can do with these for structures. Again, you just cut it to the proper length, scrape a little bit of the plastic off of the copper, add your connector. Now the connectors, there is a difference between single color and color changing connectors. This is a 2-wire system. It does make a difference whether you get a 2-wire, or I think the others are 4 wires or more. So make sure you get the right kind of connector for your LEDs. And also the width of the tape. This is 8 millimeters. Some are bigger or smaller. And so that will make a difference in the type of connector that you get. So the one that I got was a 2 connector for 8 millimeter tape. And so you just connect it together, mount it how you want to mount it, and you can plug it right in to 12 volts AC, your accessory power, and you are set and ready to go. If you want them a little dimmer, you can set it to a lower volume, or lower voltage, I mean, and you can adjust them like so. And so now, like Mick Jagger, I'm going to paint it black. So there we have it. Quick, easy, and inexpensive LED illumination for buildings, for cars, for just about anything you can think of. No diodes, no resistors, no special wiring required. Just connect it up and wire it to your constant voltage, whether it's AC or DC, and it works just fine. So I hope you like the video. If you do, click like, share, subscribe, click that notification bell, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, and until next time, keep those trains running.